that a lot of people, I think, when you now mention the name SEO, people think like, oh, it's, you know, this thing that's like super complex on one hand. Two, the rules of the game change a lot, so it's very much like you're not in control. And then it's very like, it's not sexy, and it's takes a lot of time. So these are like the objections that I hear from people now. So like, what would you say to those things?
I would say all of that was true 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore. The thing is, Google's algorithms are no longer written by human beings. They're written by machines. What the human beings do is they say to the machines, this is all machine learning. It's basically a machine trying to understand how to achieve a goal that a human being has set it.
Mm-hmm.
So what the human being says is, I want the perfect SERP. I want this SERP to serve this purpose. There you go. You've got to get to their machine, and it gives them. They give the machine examples of what they consider to be good results. Then they give the machine all the data, and they say, figure it out for everything else. So that means that those rules you were talking about no longer exist as such, because nobody in the world knows what they are. Only the machine knows what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Because the human being is simply telling the machine, get to that result. And then when the machine's been working on it for a bit and it started producing these results, and it's going, now what do you think? The machine, I'm being a machine here. What do you think of my results? And then the human being, Google, will then say, okay, this is right, that's wrong, that's right, that's right, that's wrong, that's right, that's good, almost right, that's good, that's bad, blah, blah, blah. And they do that by using human beings to rate the quality of the results of Google.
Mm-hmm.
And they use feedback from users on Google, and they use data from the SERPs themselves, i.e. how users interact with the SERPs, the results pages. So they then say to the machine, this worked, this didn't. This worked, this didn't. And then the machine goes back and tries to do it again with that new information about what was good and what was bad about what it had done. So every single thing that it takes into consideration is something the machine decides about, and not the human being. Not everything, pretty much everything.
And why that makes it better?
Because then you can't say to anybody, oh, I need more links, oh, I need more structured data, oh, I need more text, oh, I need more of this or more of that, because nobody knows what the real answer is. But what you can do is say, Google will keep feeding this machine mistake, 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 as long as the results don't satisfy its users. And it will keep feeding that machine, great, 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 patting it on the head saying what a great machine you are every time it does satisfy the user. So what they're doing is, Google people are saying, this is a good result because it brings the solution to the user efficiently and quickly. The best result, the best solution.
So then the main idea is to focus on the user then.
And that's what Google's saying. People are getting really frustrated with them, saying, oh yeah, you just tell us how many links we need, because that's what we're used to in the SEO community. And Google is saying, but you just have to satisfy the user. And they're not doing it because they're horrible people. They're doing it because that's what they're telling the machine. So they don't know what you need to do on a detail by detail basis. And every single result page is going to be different. So they can't tell you what you need to do for your particular case. So at the end of the day, you need to make sure that this machine that's judging you, basically what Google is saying is, we have our users who are expressing a problem or asking a question, and we want to bring that, the best solution or the best answer, as quickly and efficiently as we possibly can. That's their aim. Yeah. That's it. So the number one result, the one that they put in front of the user, has to be the best result with the most efficient and qualitatively great, satisfying solution for their user. If you start with that, you're going, okay, that's what they're aiming to do. Now they're saying to the machine, you need to get us that result. Mm-hmm. And that machine needs to understand what it is you're offering. It needs to understand exactly what solution you're offering to whom. So it needs to understand who you are, what you do, and who your audience is. Then, if it's understood you and your competitor, it's saying, well, which one do I put first? Because I've got two that are pretty much the same. Then you say, okay, now you need to identify, or sorry, you need to convince it that you are the most credible out of those two solutions. So that would be reviews, inbound links, user-generated content on your page, i.e. interaction with users who actually find your content interesting and useful, and it creates discussion. Or influencers linking to you, all these things that kind of make your content look credible. I use the word credible. Google used the word expertise, authority, and trust. Just think credible. It needs to look credible, more credible than my competition. So you've got it to understand what you're offering. You've got it to understand that you're a more credible solution to its user's problem, or a better answer to their question than your competitors. Then you need to just make sure that the content you're giving Google is in the correct format. It can deliver that content, or it believes you can deliver that content. So in the case where it's showing the answer on the SERP, which would be the case of a featured snippet, or perhaps a video that they sometimes now embed, it needs to be able to deliver that content correctly. And that means you just need the right player for the video in your page. It just needs to be a player that Google can pick up and put in the SERP, and it's very simple. YouTube, you put your embed link in and you're away. I mean, it's not complicated. Or when the user comes to your site, if Google sends the users through to your site, Google has to be convinced that you can deliver that content correctly. And that just means having a decent site that isn't really slow, and that you can use on a mobile device. I mean, that's the minimum you would want for your user anyway. Google's asking you for the minimum you would want for your user anyway.
Yeah.
So if you can get it to understand that you provide a relevant solution to the specific question that's just been asked, and remembering there are billions of questions asked every day, and you can convince it that yours is the most credible solution, and you can demonstrate to it that you can deliver that solution, you've won the game. And it really isn't difficult. I mean, it's not that technical game we were playing before. It's a very different game, and it is focused on the user. And the thing about brand SERPs, and this wraps it up really nicely, is if you don't have video boxes on your brand SERP, like when somebody searches your brand name, if there aren't the video boxes, then your video strategy is awful. It's not valuable to your users. Google can't see the value. It's never going to show you videos in the wider world. So if you sort that out, then you sort out your Twitter boxes, because you want the Twitter boxes. You need a decent Twitter strategy for that. Then you're starting to build a proper content strategy.
Yeah.
So if you start with your brand SERP, you're immediately building a better content strategy, which will then feed into your SEO without you even doing anything extra.